30 minutes, that's all it took to flip two small-town cops' lives upside down. 30 minutes after they slapped the cuffs on what they thought was just an old black man the FBI was tearing through their station like it was a war zone. They had no idea who they'd really put in chains that night. It was late, close to 11 on one of those Georgia back roads where the woods lean in tight and the air hums with crickets. Officer Ray Doyle spotted a beat-up Ford pickup drifting a little across the lane, one tail light busted out. He grinned to himself, thinking easy stop paperwork, maybe a ticket, something to puff up his numbers. He hit the lights, and the truck eased over to the gravel shoulder. Behind the wheel sat an older man, mid-60s, dark-skinned, silver hair, cropped close. He sat straight, hands at 10 and 2, not flinching, not fumbling, just locked in like he'd rehearsed it. His name was Leonard Brooks, though Doyle didn't know it yet. Leonard didn't look nervous. He looked trained. License and registration, Doyle barked like he always did. Leonard's voice came low, steady, without a quiver. Right here, officer. Every movement was measured, no wasted motion, no sudden twitch. Doyle's partner, rookie cop Justin Cole, shifted uneasily by the passenger window. Something about this stop felt off, though he couldn't put his finger on it. But Doyle wasn't listening to instincts. He was itching to feel powerful. "That's an old army jacket you got on," Cole muttered, trying to ease the tension. Leonard gave a small nod. "Served a long time ago." Doyle leaned closer, flashlight beam harsh against the man's face. "What branch? What unit?" He wanted a flinch, a stutter, a crack. Leonard's eyes didn't blink. "Special Activities Division. Army." The words landed like a stone in a still pond. Cole straightened, unsure. Doyle smirked. "Special Activities. Sounds like janitor duty to me. Probably cleaned rifles." He shoved the papers back at his partner. "Check the glove box." Leonard didn't move right away. His voice came flat, even. "There's a Colt 45 in there. Registered." Doyle's smile stretched wide. "And you failed to declare it." "That's all I need. You didn't ask." Leonard replied matter-of-fact, like stating the weather. That calmness, it lit Doyle's fuse. He yanked the door open, grabbed the old man's arm, barked out. "Hands where I can see them." Leonard stepped out, smooth. No panic, no stumbling. Even in cuffs, his posture was too straight, too practiced. He looked like a man who'd faced worse. That only made Doyle shove harder, slam him against the hood like he was a prize catch. At the station, Doyle typed his report with smug satisfaction. Another troublemaker off the streets. Koldos kept glancing at the holding cell. Leonard sat there like stone eyes fixed on the clock on the wall. Not restless, not afraid, just waiting. Deputy Angela Pierce walked over from the front desk, arms crossed. "Did you run a full background check before locking him up?" "We'll get to it." Doyle waved her off. "That's not protocol, Ray. What if he's got medical conditions? What if his story's real?" Cole chuckled nervously. "He claims special clearance. If he's telling the truth, we'll know when we run his prints." What none of them knew was that the moment Doyle hit enter on Leonard Brooks' name, alarms had already started screaming across federal servers hundreds of miles away. They hadn't just booked an old man. They'd flagged a federal asset. Inside the cell, Leonard finally spoke. His voice carried through the quiet. "You boys ever been in a firefight?" Every head turned. Doyle strutted to the glass. "What did you say?" I asked. "If you've ever had to decide who lives and who dies while a sniper's got a mother and child in his sights." Leonard's eyes didn't waver. I remember her face. Didn't speak English, but I knew exactly what she was begging me for. I pulled the trigger. Silence. Even Cole's smirk died. Doyle forced a laugh. "War stories, save it." But when he turned back to his computer, his grin vanished. Next to Leonard's name pulsed a red icon he'd never seen before. Then ringing. Line 4, the phone that never rang. He picked up. "Sheriff's office." The voice was steel. "You have Leonard Brooks in custody." Not a question. A fact. This is Agent Monroe, Federal Bureau of Investigation. We are 7 minutes out. Do not move him. Do not speak to him. Is that clear? Doyle stammered. Wait, what's going on? The line went dead. Angela Pierce's eyes widened. Who was that? Before he could answer, headlights slashed through the station windows, three black SUVs' doors opening in perfect unison. Men in suits flowed out like shadows. They entered the station without asking, without pausing, like they owned the ground beneath their feet. Agent Monroe strode straight to the holding cell. Sergeant Brooks, he said, tapping a code and swinging the door open. Leonard stood, stretching stiff joints, giving the agent a faint, tired smile. Took you long enough, Traffic Monroe muttered, like two old colleagues catching up. He glanced back at Doyle and Cole, who stood frozen. Did they treat you with respect? I've had worse, Leonard said, eyes landing square on Doyle. Cole burst out desperate. We didn't know who he was. He had a gun. We followed protocol. You didn't know because you didn't listen, snapped another agent, hunched over their computer. And now every word you said is recorded, preserved, and flagged. Monroe's voice dropped, lethal in its calm. Gentlemen, you have been detaining a classified federal asset. That pistol you seized, it's evidence from an operation that saved an embassy in '89. Do you understand the gravity of your mistake? Doyle's mouth worked soundlessly. Cole's face drained pale. You saw an old black man in a worn-out truck, Monroe continued, his words cold as ice. And you made assumptions. Those assumptions just painted targets on this entire building. The agents gathered files, videos, audio, all of it. Every shove, every insult, every smirk now sealed forever in federal archives. Monroe turned back. Do you want to press charges? Sergeant Leonard shook his head. Not worth the paperwork. Just give me my sidearm back. When they handed it over, he weighed it in his hand, then looked at Doyle. His voice was quiet, but it hit harder than any scream. You ever get a gut feeling about someone, officer, and ignore it because prejudice was easier? Maybe next time you'll ask before you assume. 3 weeks later, the fall came down like judgment. Justin Cole was stripped of patrol duty, sentenced to desk work until retirement. No car, no siren, just phones and forms. Ray Doyle badge, suspended career over. 2 decades gone because he couldn't see past the color of a man's skin and the age of his truck. And Leonard Brooks. He walked away the same way he came, calm, steady, carrying memories too heavy for most of us to imagine. All he'd wanted was to drive home in peace. All he deserved was respect. That's the real lesson here. Every stranger carries a story you can't see. The quiet old man at the gas pump might have saved lives you'll never hear about. The tired woman at the checkout might have healed hundreds. The kid you write off as nothing could be brilliant. You never know who you're dealing with until it's too late. So here's the question for you. Were those cops just doing their jobs, or did prejudice blind them to their duty? Have you ever been judged for how you looked only for the truth to shock everyone later? Drop your story in the comments. I want to hear how you see it. And remember, power without respect isn't authority. It's just bullying with a badge.